Hello, everybody. Do you struggle with low back stress, tension, and pain? If so, I'm here to give you some guidance on that today. My name is Jason Barlow, RMT, and today I'm going to share with you one of my favorite corrective exercises for helping manage and deal with your stress, tension, and pain to your lower back. The McKenzie Push Up is possibly one of the most versatile exercises you can use. It can be done anywhere, anytime. All you need to be able to do is get down onto the floor to perform this exercise. Now, if you struggle to get down onto the ground because you're in that much pain, then certainly you can adapt and perform this in an upright position. Now, at the end of this sequence, I'm going to share with you where you can go to find this tutorial video so you can actually watch and then follow along and go ahead and perform this exercise and start to get relief immediately. Now, let me explain a little bit behind the scenes why this exercise is so beneficial. Think about how much time you spend every day in a seated position. From when you wake up in the morning, you sat down for your breakfast, maybe you got to commute to work. Once you're at work, are you in a seated position? Throughout your day, you're up, you're down. Generally speaking, we're spending several hours a day in a seated posture. Now, even if you're on the other side of this listening and going, well, actually, no, I spend most of my day, for me as a massage therapist, for example, I'm spending most of my day in an upright standing position. Nonetheless, the principle still applies that we are loading and compressing the lumbar spine in particular, and that's where we tip and pivot, rotate, bend, lift. It's the center point of where we take on a lot of the load bearing throughout our day. So this exercise that I'm sharing with you today is quite possibly the number one exercise that I would recommend to help unload and decompress and basically reverse the posture of how we're spending most of the day stressing our lower back and our pelvis. So visualize the spine for me now. And there's 5 sections that make up, or 5 bones that make up the lumbar spine. Now, I've had a lot of people that come in that experience what we call a disc herniation. This is a protrusion or a bulge of the disc, typically between L3, L4, L4, L5, L5, S1. So there's kind of 3 discs that experience these bulges. And the way I interpret it to my patients is those discs are very much like a level. If you imagine putting a level on a surface to try and balance and horizontally balance that surface, each of these discs between all the bones in the spine, they're designed to have a level which is built up of fluid in the content there of the disc to actually help calibrate and align the spine and help with the shock absorption. That's the whole premise of these discs. So whenever we bend, lift, twist, extend, and flex, the discs are helping accommodate that movement in the spine itself, and they're designed to help protect, shock absorb, and basically mitigate the amount of forces that these bones have to take on. Now add in, obviously, all the articulating surfaces, which includes the muscles, the soft tissues, the fascia. This is all helping to dissipate that load. The goal with this McKenzie push-up, though, is to help unload particularly the lumbar discs, because we usually are spending most of our day in a loaded posture, compressing that section of the spine. And here's another point to consider. When you're sat, and if you're sat listening to this right now, we're usually sitting into the backrest, and unless that backrest of the chair or seat that we're in actually has a lumbar support, very commonly what happens is we tend to sink into that chair. Our pelvis then goes into what we call posterior rotation, and as soon as we get posterior rotation in the pelvis, this lumbar spine actually goes into more what we call flexion. The McKenzie push-up is an exercise to help encourage more extension. And when you first do this, it feels possibly quite stiff because your spine is just not used to that extension. And the older you are, the more stiffness you may have. My advice is be persistent. The important thing is that you're encouraging, you're enticing, you're intending to create that extension once again in the lumbar spine, get that mobility to this area of the spine, and just encourage that posture to help realign in due course. So the McKenzie push-up is my most recommended exercise here for aligning the lowest section of the spine called the lumbar vertebrae and help alleviate the pressure in the discs. I recommend you do this every day, just as much as you need to, because again, just think about how many hours every day it is that you're actually loading, compressing this section of the spine. In an ideal world, it would be wonderful if we could spend hours every day doing the opposite positions to help alleviate pressure, decompress, and unload. It's completely unrealistic. But I'm here to say to you as your therapist that anything that you do by way of these exercises I'm recommending are going to be therapeutic. You just have to be consistent with them. And the shortcut to results is intensity. And I don't mean intensity in the sense of getting yourself into this McKenzie push-up and really reefing and pushing and forcing. I'm talking about intensity being getting into position holding, but that you're doing frequently enough. So intensity can actually be increased by doing this exercise more often, more frequent throughout your day. If you're sitting for an hour, then go and take maybe 2 minutes and go and do some McKenzie push-ups and alleviate that pressure to the lower spine. Because here's what's happening if you're not doing that. Every day, and I talk about this in my new book, The 15-Step Playbook for Pain Relief, every day we're all accumulating what I call postural debt. So unless you're taking the time to pay off that postural debt, it's accumulating. Day by month, by year, by decade. And this is the process of aging that I hear my patients complain about is, yes, we're all going to age. There's going to be levels of degeneration, but I'm a big advocate that we don't have to age with pain. There is ways, there's strategies, but we have to be consistent. We have to get intensity. We have to get frequency. We have to do the right types of exercises. And I'm here as your therapist to teach you those exercises. My name is Jason Barlow, RMT. If you would like more information, you want to see this video to teach you how to do this particular exercise, the McKenzie push-up, go to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Jason Barlow, RMT. And from there, you'll see my latest video. If that interests you, you'll see a lot of history of videos I've been posting the last 6 months. You can go check those out. Also, here's an opportunity to go download my book. You can get this free digital download at www.jasonbarlowrmt.com. From there, a page will pop up. All you have to do is leave me your email, and I will send this copy to you digitally. It's a PDF. You download it onto your smartphone, to your computer. You just need Acrobat Reader if you're going to do that. If you want to get this physical copy, it's bite-sized. I've designed this so it's a minimal time for you, but you're going to get maximum results in return. I'm helping educate people to transform their stress, tension, and pain into health, happiness, and vitality. This is a summary of doing that. My 20 years, well, 20 plus now, as a massage therapist, exercise professional, health and nutrition coach, I'm sharing what I can in a short, condensed amount of material as I can. If you wish for the physical copy, just go to Amazon. You can get the Kindle edition or the paperback edition from there. Check me out tomorrow. Jason Barlow, RMT. Thank you for joining me.